Good evening, TDS Queen here. Where do I even begin today? I can't even make my pies that I need to make for Thanksgiving because I'm just so irritated. So, got my notes written down today. And normally I wait till later because I'm sure people are not done making videos, the ones that I watch, and I know there's going to be more. But I'd had just about all I could take after watching last night and then some of today. I'd had about enough. Let's begin with ICE affecting Caroline Leavitt. Not really, because I wouldn't put it past her that she was the one that called. But here's the story, okay? First, we've got, the 5 on Fox News, which of course my best friend Jesse Waters, talking about the lies of the right, saying that when immigrants are gone, rent will go down, and crime will go down, and wages will go up. That is such a lie, okay? There is zero evidence that immigrants commit more crimes than anybody else does. No evidence. The fact that rent will go down, why? I want to know why. Like, the legal factual basis as to why rent will go down. Because one has nothing to do with the other. And wages will go up? How do you figure? The jobs that they are arresting these people, the jobs that they do, are not all that well-paying of jobs. So when those jobs are gone, number one, they need somebody to fill those jobs. Are they assuming that the companies all of a sudden are going to pay the people that fill those jobs, the ones that are here legally, a living wage? Guess again, because that's not going to happen. So how do you figure wages are going to go up? Another freaking lie. So here's the story. Leavitt's 11-year-old nephew's mom, sorry, this is going to be spinning and bothering me. So that would be her sister-in-law, she used to be her sister-in-law, Bruna Ferreira. I hope I'm saying that right. Fiera is now in custody at an ICE facility at Louisiana, facing deportation to Brazil. She is the former fiancé of Michael Leavitt, which is Caroline's brother. They had a son together who they raised before the split. So apparently, the kid went to live with the dad. The mom's not really involved. I don't know the backstory to that. I can't just assume because I'm not going to be one of those people that's like, well, maybe she was a bad mom. But I could also go to the flip side of that and say maybe these people, rich and powerful as they are, kept her from her kid. Could go either way. Regardless. Her sister, Graciela dos Santos Rodriguez, has started a GoFundMe campaign to raise money to fight the ICE charges and allow Bruna to remain in Boston. They've raised $14,000 to $30,000 so far. Her sister says she entered the U.S. with their parents in December of '98 on a visa that she has maintained her legal status, mind you, through a program for people who entered the country as children called Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, so that's the DACA. Since then, she's done everything in her power to build a stable, honest life here, followed every requirement, and as always strives to do the right thing. And remember when I told you the other day, well, first of all, I don't put it past Caroline Leavitt that she was the one that called ICE on this woman. Wouldn't put it past her in a heartbeat. She certainly hasn't come out and said how awful it is or, gosh, this is really affecting me and I didn't think it would reach into my family. This immigration ICE nonsense is like drug addiction. It is going to affect you eventually, or it's going to affect someone you know, or a family member, or someone of a family member. Like, everybody will be affected by this eventually. It is just a cascading waterfall of just horribleness. Okay, last night when we talked about Velez, that woman that was the U.S. citizen that got held in ICE for 2 days, and I said I didn't know and I'd do some more research. Yeah, she did not get access to a lawyer. She did not have the ability to call her family. She also didn't have access to running water unless she paid for a cup. Fortunately, there was somebody else in there that let them borrow her cup. But this is absolutely insane. If you think this is okay, that U.S. citizens, like, forget if you're like super racist and you think that all immigrants that came here illegally are the devil and they should all be locked up and thrown away, whatever. These are U.S. citizens that are getting arrested. Can't you just at least draw the line in the sand there? Like, what is wrong with you? Oh my God. So yeah, all of that. Things that are going on with Judge Zinnis with the If you remember back when he ordered those flights not to go out for people to be deported to that El Salvador max psycho prison, and do not take off was the order. Do not take off. And if you remember back further, there was that one guy, I can't remember his name, but he basically said, F the judges. F them. What are they going to do? So basically, F court orders, F the judges, and that's exactly what the administration did. They took off anyways. They didn't give these people due process because, exactly like I said in another video, everybody's entitled to due process. You just are. Those are the rules. If you don't like them, go somewhere else. But now, instead of the guy that said F the judges, whose fault it actually is, now they're throwing Kristi Noem under the bus. Come to find out that there was a declaration by, I think it was a Justice Department member named Cantu, made a declaration of about Costa Rica not wanting Abrejo Garcia. Signed his name to it. This country doesn't want him because originally Costa Rica was willing to take him. And he was fine with going there. All said and done, good, we're good, you can go there, whatever. But then the Trump administration wanted him, no, on the condition you go to Costa Rica, you have to plead guilty to human trafficking. Well, he said, no, I didn't do that. So then they come and say, well, now Costa Rica doesn't want you. And Cantu signed a declaration stating that. Now, when pressed about it by the judge, he says he didn't. It was just pushed in front of him and he signed it. They told him what to sign. So, more lies, as usual. More information on the Justice Department releasing files. Do you remember the Homan bribery probe? The guy that decided to, in an undercover sting, take a $50,000 bribe. Well, nobody knows where that money went. Was it marked bills? Did he give it back? Did he keep it? Because we would like to know. And the Oversight Committee is now starting to file FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, because that is actually going to get them the information they need faster, and they're even doing that with some Epstein things, I do believe, because obviously the DOJ is going to drag their feet on this Epstein thing. They're not going to get it done. They're going to slow walk everything. They're going to make excuses. They're going to say there's an open investigation, whatever they can do. So we're not giving up on this. We're not going to shut up about it. We're not going to stop talking about it. The House Oversight Committee is not going to talk about it. And they're just surprised that, they keep saying Republicans need to join in doing serious oversight. Why don't they want to? Isn't this the party of law and order? That's what you say all the time. Guess not, huh? All right, the other major stories. The New York Times is finally reporting on Trump's diminishing health. And not really. I guess baby steps with that. But seriously, they're just talking about how the presidency is wearing on him, aging in the presidency. No, this man has dementia, okay? It's obvious. He can barely walk, all right? In 2017, his scheduled events started at 10:31 a.m. Oh, so early. And in 2025, his scheduled events start at 12:08 p.m. I can't even get up that late. I'm a stay-at-home mom, okay? I have an 8-year-old. I get up and take her to school and make breakfast, and I wake up with my husband at 4:30 and make him breakfast for work. Even if I wanted to sleep in that late, my back won't let me sleep in that late, which I don't think he's going to bed at 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock. He's up all night tweeting crazy nonsense. That's why he's sleeping in so late, till, noon. What is getting done? What's getting done in the morning? Everybody just shuffles around the White House in their jams and bunny slippers? What? Okay. The number of Trump's total official appearances has decreased by 39%. In 2017, Trump held 1,688 official events between January and the 25th of November that year. For the same time period this year, he's appeared in 1,029 events. And, Maga is constantly saying in Fox how much energy he has. He's like the Energizer Bunny. He's so virile. He's just a firecracker. He's working all the time. Another lie. And see how easy it is to find these lies? I do it every day. All day long. Like I said, he can't even walk in a straight line anymore. He's falling, he kind of stumbles when he walks. He walks in with the Putin red carpet, he walked in a zigzag. This man can't barely stand up. He had a hard time raising his arm to salute the other day. And I was watching the Daily Beast podcast, and it's very good. I do recommend watching that. And they had Michael Wolff on again, and he was talking about how, Trump is a game show host. That's what he's known for. He's good at selling himself. He's good at looking on TV. Look at all the people that he surrounds himself with, all the Kristi Noem and Pam Bondi and Caroline Levitt, and they're all camera ready, pretty faces, good for TV. Look at his cabinet. They're Fox News hosts. They're people that have zero experience, okay? And I remember in the very beginning when he started to run, I was like, oh, yeah, let's shake things up in the political establishment. I didn't vote for him, but I wasn't like terrified about it like I am now. My bad. But it's all people that are good on TV but have zero ability to do anything. And when it comes time for results, that's where it messes up, okay? Because he can make great announcements, but he can't back them up. He installs idiots in his cabinet that are TV ready, but they can't lead. He gets elected on all these promises, but then 11 months later, there needs to be follow through. There's no follow through. He wants peace, can't follow through. He wants immigrant criminals gone, and that was like his thing, his like main thing. Can't follow through. Now he's got ICE goons beating people up in the street, arresting American citizens, and wonders why his approval ratings are in the toilet on everything, including immigration. There's no follow through. He's changing the Republican MAGA to, now it's going to be Republicans, like Trump Republicans. I read that today, and you see how even he is distancing himself because MAGA is turning against him. So now he's trying to like make this little side party of like, well, the true MAGAs, the ones that aren't turning against me, we're going to be the Republicans, the Trump Republicans, the Republicans. Like, oh, yeah, so clever. Stupid. Oh, God. So yeah, he can't follow through on any of this stuff that he's promised, and that's the problem. And when he can't, instead of admitting that he's wrong or anything, he just lies. Just tell some lies, make things up, say that things are cheaper. People will believe you. Which leads me to the other thing. Okay. The supporters today. I just can't. I want to believe that there's hope. I really, truly do. But when I read some of the comments, I just can't. I can't. Like, take for example, oh my God, his tweet today. It's Trump's tweet today with the Republicans. That wasn't this one. This is about him losing his energy. The radical left lunatics in the soon-to-fold New York Times, of course, gotta hit up the paper, did a hit piece on me that I am perhaps losing my energy, despite the facts that show the exact opposite. They know this is wrong, as is almost everything that they write about me, including election results, all purposely negative, Trump wrote. The writer of the story, Katie Rogers, who is assigned to write only bad things about me, is a third-rate reporter who is ugly, both inside and out. This is a grown-ass man, okay? Forget that he's the president. What are you, Stuart from Mad TV? You're ugly. No, don't. Really? You're ugly? You're ugly on the inside and out? You got nothing better than that? You freaking disgusting bully. Despite all this, I have my highest poll numbers ever. Show me. I dare somebody to drop some poll numbers in my comments that are positive for him. Where did they come from? I want some facts, because he has the crappiest poll numbers ever of any president ever. Just get over it. He does. And that's my next thing that I'm going to talk about. They're horrid. And with record-setting investment being made in America, they should only go up. Well, wait, you have the highest poll. Oh, you think they're going to get higher even? Wow. That's ambitious. There will be a day when I run low on energy. It happens to everyone, but with all caps, mind you, perfect physical exam and a comprehensive cognitive test that was aced, just recently taken. It certainly is not now. Okay, sure, why not? All right, so poll ratings. He is 10 points underwater in Oklahoma, okay? Red, Oklahoma, 10 points underwater. I was watching IHIP today, and they made some very valid, interesting points that helped me in my, why is this still going on? How can people still support him? It's so dug in. It's like a tick, these lies that these people have been fed by the Republican Party and these mega churches, and Maga and Trump and everybody, it's just, they're dug in like a tick. They don't know how to think for themselves anymore. They'll believe all these lies because it's just been repeated over and over ad nauseum until you don't even want to even try to find the truth. It's just been said so many times, that is your reality, that is your truth. There's been a Republican supermajority for decades in Oklahoma, okay? They can't blame anybody but themselves by the way things are. That is like a 44th ranked state, okay? I think they're like 50th in education, and then they turn around and they try to blame things on the Democrats, like, oh, they want trans for everybody and hate the immigrants and hate black people, and they're the reasons that things are like that. No, you've had the majority for all those years, and this is what your state is like. You have taken it into the ground, okay? Now compare that to Massachusetts, okay, where they just did they approved, this is the quote, the upside of taxing the rich, 99% of us benefit. The downside of taxing the rich, there isn't one. Massachusetts approved a 4% tax on incomes more than $1 million. Okay, just 4% on incomes more than $1 million. Okay, 4%. That is nothing. Okay, you are still plenty wealthy. And it's not like we're asking you to pay more in taxes than us. We're asking you to pay the same as what we pay. Why do corporations get huge tax breaks and we are left, the American people, to foot the bill? That is not right anymore. And I think we're really at a crossroads where I don't think people are going to tolerate that anymore. And I think people are finally waking up and realizing who the true enemy is, who the real boogeyman is. And it's not immigrants. So, because of this in Massachusetts, okay, they are a top 3 state. They have an extra $1.5 billion to spend on things like free childcare, free community college, and free transportation. Not communist ideas, by the way. The transportation, free transportation. Government spending came out for this. This is one of the lies. The lies that are said so often that they are now truths in a lot of people's minds is that Republicans are fiscal conservatives. That is not true. The spending just came out, the report for October, and it is $700 billion in government spending this October. $700 billion. That's up 25% from last year. Okay? Who was in charge last year? Who's in charge this year? They don't care about the out of control spending. They don't care that they took people's Medicaid and food stamps and health care. They're taking it all away to give permanent tax cuts to the wealthiest Americans. They don't care. They don't care that that's driving up the deficit. And I know you conservatives out there care about that. I know you do. Because you whine and whine and whine about how Democrats want to, take all this money and take people's money and spend it, blah, blah, blah. That's your party. Stop believing the lie. Just stop. Okay? You can't run government like a business. Okay? With them, every time a Republican is in charge of the presidency, they let capitalism go absolutely nuts. They deregulate everything, take away protections, which I'll get into that a little bit later, and the government goes to crap, the economy goes in the toilet, and the next president that's a Democrat spends all 4 years of their presidency cleaning up the mess instead of trying to pass actual real good reform. And if they do get a chance to try to do that, then they're blocked by the Republicans trying to own the libs. Okay? So nothing ever gets accomplished. That's why people are feeling left behind. Okay? That's why. We would actually help people if you just would stop with the communism nonsense and look at what Democrats actually are proposing. Forget that there's even a Democrat in front of the name. Don't you think that after working your whole life that you should be able to move up in the world? Do you think that's right that you can't? Do you think that you should be able to afford a house? Do you think that you should be able to afford your groceries? Do you think that you should be able to afford your health care? Do you think that child care should not be so outrageously expensive? Any of those things. Because that's nothing that the Republican Party is offering you. Those are all things from the Democratic Party. It should just be Democracy Party. Because we are the democracy. That's it. Like I said last night, there is no Democrat and Republican. Now it's just right and wrong. I want to know, what has he done? Prove me wrong. Make a comment. What has he done that has positively affected your life that he said he was going to do? What has he delivered on that has made your life personally better? And I don't want to talk about, well, he closed the borders. No, how is that? Fine, if you want to use that as an excuse. How has that personally affected your life positively, in a positive way? The fact that he did that. Did you get a job that is now vacated by an immigrant that was picked up by ICE? Did your wages go up because you worked in a restaurant that was full of them and now they're all gone? No, I want to know specifically how he has positively affected your life, because I don't think there's one thing that you can write down that he has. I just don't think it. We also end up having to bail out banks and airlines and corporations, but never the American people, except for now when he is taking $12 million and bailing out the farmers. Took $40 billion and bailed out Argentina, but our hardworking American farmers get $12 million as a bailout. And that's from that side of the party. And it's just a bridge. According, I forget who said that on Fox News today. Just a bridge, just a temporary thing. And yet you condemn all of us for being, socialists, and socialism is communism, and yet you're constantly bailing out yourselves, Argentina, the farmers. There's nothing wrong with wanting Americans to succeed and helping them to succeed. Make your government work for you. Government is supposed to work for you. Government is not supposed to be run by like a business, because when it is, this is the results that we have. An outrageous cost to everything. Healthcare outrageous, childcare outrageous. That's what happens when what comes from running your government like a business. Okay? Listen to what Kevin Hassett said, making a joke on Fox News about the cost of things, because somebody pointed out, he watched some news story where the news reporter actually had the guts to point out the reason why Walmart Thanksgiving is so much cheaper this year, and Kevin Hassett acted like it was a joke. Like, well, he said that it's the story, it's not a lie, but, they're talking about how there's generic brands of things, and that's why it's cheaper, because there's generic brands. People love store brands. They substitute generic stuff like it's a crime to do that. That's not the point. We're not mad that there's generic brands in there instead of name brands. That's not the point. The point is your boss is getting on TV and lying and saying he made Thanksgiving dinner cheaper under him versus Biden. That's not true. That's the thing we're upset about. Not that there's generic brands in the Walmart. I don't care. I buy tons of generic stuff. Want to know why? Because I can't afford the good stuff anymore. So really, a lot of it doesn't really make even a difference. But that's not the point. Okay, the comments today. I actually saw somebody on a news story say that Trump wasn't a felon, even though he was convicted of 34 felon counts, was not a felon, because he's president. And if he had been found guilty, he would be in prison. If only. From your mouth to God's ears. Oh my God. Is that not the dumbest thing you've ever heard? I couldn't, normally I comment back. I try. I couldn't even do it. I was like, nope. I don't even want to touch it. The stupidity of that. You can be convicted of things and not go to prison and not go to jail. There's community service. There's probation. There's fines. There's traffic court. There's boot camp. There's drug court. What? So dumb. And then the people talking about Trump's health. And then, of course, it's, well, what about Biden? What about Biden and his dementia? And he was running the... Dude, he's not in charge right now, okay? I hate to break it to you. Trump is president now. Who cares? He's the one that's in control. Biden is in control of nothing right now. Trump has dementia, and he's the president, okay? Who cares about that? Who cares? I don't care. I mean, it's just so asinine. And I used to think there was hope, and now I don't. I think some of these people are just so far gone, and it makes me wonder, because where are they getting their news? Because Fox is even coming on and showing that gas prices have not gone down, and showing how much beef is and how much things are, and completely contradicting what Trump comes out and says. So are these people not even watching Fox News? Are they watching things like One America News? And I don't know, do they? I can't, I could never bring myself to watch something like that. Do they not have that kind of stuff on there at all? I mean, is it just straight 24-hour Trump worship all day, every day on these channels, and they don't talk about anything that's true? And they just come out and lie? And they don't talk about how expensive things are? But then I think about, aren't you going to the store? Aren't you filling up your car with gasoline? Aren't you buying things? Like, I had to make 2 trips today to 2 different stores because I refuse to pay $6 for strawberries. I don't care if I had to drive an extra 10 minutes. I'm not doing it. I'm not paying $6 for strawberries. And I'm not paying $4.50 for my daughter's milk. I'm not. When I can go to Aldi and get it for $2, I won't do it. And I think, are you not going to the store? I don't get it. Don't you see this? Do you really, honestly, you just believe what he tells you and you're not looking at it with your own eyes? And don't believe your own eyes? So, like I said, the lies have just been told for so long that I don't know if it's too late. I'm kind of hoping that, I feel like the only way out of this is if we get a majority and there's a blue tsunami in 2026, or maybe even sooner, because supposedly there's going to be a lot of early retirements in the House. And I feel like that's the only way, is if we get like a filibuster-proof majority and we actually start doing things that we say that we're going to do and that affects real change in people's lives. I'm sorry, my fish are going crazy because I'm right in front of their tank. They're like, food, food, food. And we affect real change, and then maybe these MAGA people will come around and realize that they've been lied to, that trickle-down economics don't work, that taxing billionaires a fair tax percentage is not going to cause them to leave and flee and go somewhere else, and that we could actually all have the specific human rights that we all should have. Dignity. A dignified life where you can move up in the world because you work hard and you earn it. And I'm hoping we will get there. But I honestly think that's the only way that they're going to wake up, because if they won't even believe their own eyes, and I'm seeing asinine comments like that. And then, of course, I saw stuff about the ballroom and, well, Biden made a basketball court, because that's the same thing, right? It's just the nonstop echo chamber of craziness and lies. That was it. I mean, look at my eye. I'm so tired. You can tell that I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired of this. I'm tired. I want it to be done. I'm tired. I'm tired. We'll get to the Russia phone call in a minute. I mean, I had a brother-in-law that was like a hardcore right-wing. Hardcore. Then he was with my sister, who is hardcore the other way. And I asked her how, and he's not like that anymore. Now he's hardcore left too. And I said, how did that happen? And she said, well, I just sat him down and I started telling him the truth, and he started looking into it on his own, and he realized that 1 and 1 wasn't adding up to 2. Things weren't making sense. And I think his mom was like that, and I think his whole family was kind of like that, so he's kind of surrounded with it in his upbringing, so he himself was a product of his environment. But once he started thinking on his own, and he's an intelligent man, once he started thinking on his own, he snapped out of it, and now, he thinks regular, intelligent people thoughts for himself and doesn't get snowed by all that's going on in the world. Alrighty. The mandate thing. This will be the last thing before I read the phone call. This is what I'm talking about when Republicans get in power and they want to run the government like a business, but they also want to deregulate, because with them, it's all about profit. It's not about helping people. It's not about saving lives. It's not about thinking through the future, playing the tape through. They're like somebody that's got an addiction to something. They want more now, cost be damned. Okay, they're not thinking down the road of what's going to happen. What's the world going to be like that my children are in? What's the world going to be like that my grandchildren are in? The Wall Street Journal says this administration, Republicans, are trying to roll back auto safety mandates such as automatic emergency braking and alarms that remind drivers if a child is in the back seat. you're against, you're not pro-choice, but you're okay for little kids to die in a hot car. Got it. I get it. Trump just ended a rule limiting a type of pollution that causes heart and lung disease. This rule was expected to save thousands of American lives every year. Okay? That's what I mean. They don't care about lives. They care about making money. Just look at the Sackler family with the opiate explosion and addiction and deaths. They didn't care. They knew. They knew their stuff was addictive as hell. They knew what was going to happen to people once it got taken away. They were going to end up going to the streets for opiates, and they created the opiate epidemic. Did they care? No, because all they could see was those dollar signs in front of their faces. And that's this party. That's these businesses. All they see is money. They don't see people. Who wants to take away safety on a car? You can back that? That's what I mean. You don't have to agree with every single thing I'm saying. Just pick one thing that you and I can agree on. I think we can agree that having an alarm to alert parents if there's a kid in the back seat is probably a good thing to have in a car. And they'll lie and say it's because of cost. No. These people have plenty of money. Plenty of money. It is not about cost. It's about getting as much money as you possibly can. The corruption is the point. The cruelty is the point. And the last thing I will get to tonight is something else you should be enraged about. And the mainstream news, of course, doesn't seem to be covering it. Or it's just like, meh, this should be a scandal that ends the presidency. Okay? Finding out that Trump and Steve Witkoff are basically Russian assets. I mean, look, he rolled out the red carpet for Putin. These are all Putin bootlickers. He doesn't do that for Zelensky. He didn't do that for the South African president. He rolls out the red carpet for his dictator buddies because Putin has something over him. You know that he does. He did in the first term when they all came out of that meeting looking like ghosts when they weren't allowed to have the press in there and they weren't allowed to take a transcript of it. What was said in that meeting between him and Trump? More something along the lines, I would guess, of here's Putin, Trump, you know I can show this picture of you blowing Bubba and tank your entire political career unless you do what I want. Trump, okay, Putin. That's how that went. Here's the phone call. Steve Witkoff and Yuri Yushikov. Okay? This is the transcript of it. And if you don't have a problem with this, like I usually say, I don't know how to help you. I'm going to do Steve Witkoff in the girl voice because it'll be too confusing. Plus, I don't really feel like doing a Russian accent. I'm tired. All right. Steve Witkoff. Hi, Yuri. Yuri Yushikov. Yeah, Steve, hi. How are you? Good, Yuri. How are you doing? I am okay. Congratulations, my friend. Thank you. You made a great job. Just a great job. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Yuri, and thanks for your support. I know your country supported it, and I thank you. They're talking about the peace plan. Yes, yes, yes. You know that's why we suspend the organization of First Russia-Arabic Summit. Yes. Yeah, because we think that you are making the real job there in the region. Well, listen, I'm going to tell you something. I think if we can get the Russian-Ukraine thing solved, everybody will be jumping for joy. Yeah. You need to solve only one problem. Laughs. What? Russia-Ukrainian war. I know. How do we get that solved? My friend, I just want your advice. Do you think it will be useful if our bosses will talk on the phone? Bosses. Yes, I do. You do. And when you think it could be possible. I think as soon as you suggest, my guy is ready to do it. Okay. Yuri, here's what I would do. My recommendation. Yes, please. I would make the call and just reiterate that you congratulate the president on his achievement, on this achievement, that you supported it, that you respect that he is a man of peace, and you're really glad to have seen it happen. So I would say that. I think that it's going to be a really good call because let me tell you what I told the president. I told the president that the Russian Federation has always wanted a peace deal. That's my belief. I told the president I believe that. No, you effing don't. And I believe the issue is that we have two nations that are having a hard time coming to a compromise, and when we do, we're going to have a peace deal. I'm even thinking that maybe we set out like a 20-point peace proposal, just like we did in Gaza. We put a 20-point Trump plan together that was 20 points for peace, and I'm thinking maybe we do the same thing with you. My point is this. Two nations that are having a hard time coming to a compromise. No, Russia is is the aggressor. There is no coming to a compromise. They invaded Ukraine. Anyway, okay, my friend. I think that very point our leaders could discuss. Hey, Steve, I agree with you that he will congratulate. He will say that Mr. Trump is a real peace man and so. That he will say. But here's what I think would be amazing. Okay. What if? Hear me out. I will discuss that with my boss and I come back to you, okay? Yeah, because listen to what I'm saying. I just want you to say, maybe just say this to President Putin because, I have the deepest respect for President Putin. Yes. Maybe he says to President Trump, Steve and Yuri discussed a very similar 20-point plan to peace, and that could be something that we think might move the needle a little bit. We're open to those sorts of things, to explore what it's going to take to get a peace deal done. Now, me to you, I know what it's going to take to get a peace deal done. Maybe a land swap somewhere, it says Donetsk, but I'm saying instead of talking like that, let's talk more hopefully, because I think we're going to get to a deal here. I think, Yuri, the president, will give me a lot of space and discretion to get to the deal. I see. So if we can create that opportunity that after this, I talked to Yuri and we had a conversation, I think that could lead to big stuff. Okay, that sounds good. And here's one more thing. Zelensky's coming to the White House on Friday. I know that. Ha. I will go to that meeting because they want me there. But I think if possible, we have the call with your boss before that Friday meeting. So they didn't talk to Ukraine, you see? Before, yeah, correct. Okay, I got your advice. So I discussed that with my boss, and then I come back to you. Okay, Yuri, I'll speak to you soon. Great. Thank you so much. Thanks you. Bye. Okay. Like I said yesterday, instructing him on how to butter up Trump, on how to have Putin butter up Trump. Talking about how their deal is going to be passed off as the U.S. deal. Okay, why are we okay cozying up to Russia? I don't get it. That was like a huge no-no. That's always been a huge no-no. Okay, they are our enemy. They are not our friends. We don't try to get along. We don't need to make peace deals with an aggressor in a war. We don't need to make peace deals with a war criminal like Putin. Why are people okay with this? Why is the mainstream media not reporting more on this? I just can't. Same thing with his health. It's sickening. It's wrong. That's why I'm out here every single night bringing you the truth. I don't care if you troll me. I don't care if you think that I'm lying, because everything that I say, I can back up with actual facts. They're not opinions. They're not how I feel about things. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you disagree with them. It doesn't bother me. It's not gonna. You can throw up your what about and both sides and whatever. It doesn't matter. It's so important right now that we keep some kind of guardrails on this, and we are desperately trying to hold on to our democracy. And the only way forward is to vote in people that are actually going to help you, that aren't going to take AIPAC money, that know what regular Americans are going through, and that is not this administration. A man that doesn't even know, thinks affordability is a new word, thinks prices are going down, thinks gas is going down, and is throwing great Gatsby-themed parties and building gilded ballrooms, and that is a man who is out of touch with the regular American person. He just is. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to still go make 2 pies and green bean casserole. So I'm going to have a very busy night ahead of me, and by the end of it, I'm not going to look like this. I'm probably going to look like this, and maybe be snoring a little bit. But let's hope not. Until then, if you like this video as always, please leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and I will continue to do this for you. Never stop speaking the truth, people. Never stop shouting it from the highest rooftop. You all have a good night out there.